Hi, I'm Crystal,
And I'm Neoshia.
and you're listening to the Rom-Com Detectives. Welcome to Rom-Com Detectives, episode 56, Strangers on a Boat. Today, Neoshia and I will be talking about episode 2 of Castle Season 2, The Double Down. This episode originally aired on September 28th, 2009. It was written by David Gray and directed by Rob Bowman. So before we get into the episode real quick, I just wanted to do a quick promo. If you're a Mentalist fan, it was just announced today that TV Police host Owen Yeoman and Tim Kang are going to be coming to our Mentalist Bullpen Discord server to do a live Q&A on March 7th from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Pacific. That's next Saturday. So if you want to join in on that, head over to discord.gg/mentalistbullpen and you'll have to accept our rules and you can join in on the conversation before that gets started. But yeah, I'm excited about that. Be fun times. So let's get into the case briefing. The victim in this one, or there's two victims in this one. There's Ashley Causeway and Frank Anderson. And it's so funny that uh, we're on season 2, but these are all like episodes where the cases I'm like, oh, it's this one. I didn't remember that it was like in season 1 or season 2. And I think it's probably because I watched like the first few seasons of Castle so many times that they're like pretty stuck in my head, but I just don't remember where they fell in the show overall.
Yeah, because I feel like on this one, when I knew that they were doing the bet, I feel like knew what was
Yeah.
gonna happen. Like I
Yeah.
remembered it.
Yeah, me too. But the cause of death for both victims was gunshot wounds. The killers were Jason Causeway, the husband of the first victim, and Eric Marks, who was the son-in-law, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But they switched and they murdered the other person's victims. The motive for Jason Causeway was what he just didn't like his wife anymore. I wasn't very clear on
Basically.
that part. Like Castle honed in on like how she was too like straight, like too strong headed or something,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, yeah, I think that like they just weren't getting along anymore.
But which is I was just like, so just get divorced, man.
Right? Like, yeah, it'll cost money, but like at least you won't be in
I
prison.
know, for real. But the guy Eric Marks, I had forgotten to pay attention to this part, but and they only mentioned it briefly. But his motive is an apartment, right?
Hmm.
So what did they say about that?
Like he wanted I'm not really sure.
But basically, he wanted him and his wife to inherit the apartment that the guy owned or something, right?
Right. Which again is another one like where it's kind of like why would you kill someone over that?
I guess I don't understand how desperate New York real estate is.
Well, it's never prison bad, you know what I mean?
Or murder bad. And that's his father-in-law too. I mean,
Mhm.
geez. But guest stars, there were a few notable ones. Diana Maria Riva, she played Karpowski. They don't really explain why she was helping them with their case, yeah.
No.
But she's seen in the beginning. She's like the one wrestling the lady with only a bra on as she lands on Beckett's desk. She's been on shows like The West Wing, Sabrina the Teenage Witch, and Dead to Me. And then there's how do you pronounce his name? Is it Ari?
I think it's Ari,
Ari
Arye.
Ari Gross. He plays Perlmutter, and he's been on Fringe. He's been on The Mentalist. He's been on Leverage and Lie to Me and Dollhouse. Lots of shows that a lot of people like us watch.
Yes.
And this is his first appearance on Castle, but he becomes a recurring character, like a thorn in Castle's side. Him and Castle don't get along. Then there's Brendan Elliott. He played Jason Causeway. He's from a ton of Hallmark movies. He's been in a lot of them. And then he was also in the 4400. There's Matt Winston, and he played Evan Winkle. He's from Scrubs, Criminal Minds, Star Trek Enterprise. But I was like, I know this guy from The Mentalist, but I couldn't get it, so I had to go look it up. And he's from A Dozen Red Roses. He was the director's like agent. He's the guy who like was willing to take the fall for the director when he got caught
Oh,
with the drugs.
yeah.
And then there was Gareth Williams. He played Wesley Grosvenor, the guy with the ankle bracelet, but he's been on Mindhunter, True Detective, also The Mentalist, and he's also been on The Shield. So lots of cop shows. But on this one, he was a a naughty guy with an
Mhm.
ankle bracelet. All right, let's get to the episode breakdown. It opens with a bunch of people going crazy and brawling in the station, and I thought it was going to be a Halloween episode, but apparently it's just a full moon.
Close enough, right?
But Castle's literally eating popcorn. A woman is thrown onto Beckett's desk wearing only a bra, and a cop tackles her. And like I said, that was Karpowski, and she becomes like a helper detective along the way in this episode. But does she come back?
Mhm.
I don't
I
remember
don't
her.
remember her, no.
Yeah. But then Beckett's phone rings and they get notice of a body. So they go down to the scene and it's a therapist. She's dead on her couch in her office, found by her husband. There's takeout food still on the table. Castle looks at a fish tank and then Lainey comes into the room in an evening dress and he's just staring at her boobs just because.
I mean, I like how she just, like,
Stop
kinda
staring at the
calls him out.
girls.
Yeah, like, just snaps and then snaps right back.
She has to do it twice too because he's looking later on. She's like, Castle! I found that amusing. But there's a message written on the victim's face, and it's got a typo, and Castle can't handle it. He's just like, if you're gonna murder someone, at least get the grammar right. If you're gonna put it on their
Yeah.
face, which I have to agree with. But
I mean, it's a recurring theme throughout the episode where he's collecting everyone or
yeah,
sorry, where he's
correcting.
correcting everyone's English.
Yeah, and actually, isn't there another case later on where there's a typo written in blood on a wall? Is that Castle where he gets upset
Yes.
about the spelling error? Am I remembering that right?
I think so.
So they talk to the husband, and he doesn't know who she was eating dinner with. And then the boys get a call about another murder nearby. And then Ryan drops that he's not gonna make it home for his warm honey milk with Jenny.
Yeah, she has him wrapped around his finger.
And they give him crap about this throughout the episode, which I found amusing. And that was one of our alternate titles for the episode, "Warm Honey Milk." But so they go to their scene, and there's a guy dead on, I don't know, a lawn of a building or something. I don't know. He's just face down in the grass or something. And so this is where we get to meet Perlmutter, and he's very snarky. He calls one of the officers Officer Hujima Face. That was another alternate title name, but
Yeah, I mean, I like that scene too because like, Ryan is just like or no, sorry, it was Espo, like, "Great to see you," like, really no, was it Ryan? It was Ryan. "Great to see you making an effort to bond with the guys."
so when they get back to the station, Castle goes over to ask them about their murder, and he's like, "Oh well," like, he calls it a pop and drop. I guess that's what they refer to, like gunshot victims.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it looks like just like a random shooting, right? Like, someone popped him and then left.
Yeah, like a mugging. But Espo says that pop and drops are among the hardest to solve. But that's actually what he said about the contract killing, right? Like he
Yeah.
just said
I mean,
that.
yeah, I guess it's probably the same concept though, right? Where
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
was like almost
it seems
random.
really random.
Yeah. But this is where they start their competition on who can solve their case first because they got the notification like around the same time. So they start off betting $50 and they say that Castro has to pay both of them $50 if he loses. I really liked this scene when they're stacking hands And then Ryan spits on his hand and puts it on Espo. He's like, "Oh, dude."
Ryan just had to add that really gross element. At least he didn't cut his hand, like, blood brother pact or whatever. Um, but yeah, I like because here that's where Castle's like secrets, murder, and gambling, three of my favorite pastimes. This episode had a lot of good one-liners for me.
Yeah, yeah. So at home, Martha's scolding Castle for the bet. She doesn't approve. Alexis comes in and says she wants to go out with Owen. And, like, in true Alexis form, he tells her to be home by midnight. She's like, I'll be home by 9. She's such a good girl.
Yeah, she is, and honestly, like, this scene kind of, like I don't know, it kinda seems really ridiculous, and I mean, maybe it is a teenage thing, but, like, she's, like, basically like, "Oh, we're having, like, relationship problems, and we need to go talk," and I'm like, "What kind of relationship problems are
Yeah.
you having? My summer child?"
How old is she at this point? 15, 16.
Yeah, I think she has to be because she graduates high school at the end of season 4, so she has to be,
Mm,
like, 15,
yeah. Not
15,
to make
16.
light of teenage drama, but I mean,
It was never that serious,
yeah,
friends.
yeah. So at the station, they're interviewing the woman who they found her through the credit card of the dinner that was left out at the murder scene. She says that when she left her, she was still alive, and that she had invited her over for dinner to actually get legal advice on a. She wanted to know how to get a restraining order, but she says it's against one of her patients. But why would she say that? If, like, does that mean that she never? Because they later on say that she was trying to get a restraining order against her husband. So wouldn't she have told her friend that?
I think the friend was just assuming.
Oh,
That was sort of the vibe I got was,
so
like,
she was being vague.
she yeah, or yeah, she's like, "I need to call and talk to you about a restraining order," and I don't think she ever told her who,
Oh, okay.
so
Okay.
she just assumed it was a patient.
Okay. So Ryan and Esposito come out of the room with the victim's family and they look really smug. And Castle's trying to poke holes in their case while talking smack about their own lead. And Beckett is handed a lead about one of her patients that has a violent record. So they're going to go talk to that guy, and Castle closes the elevator on them, on the two guys, because he wants to give them a leg up. And this is around when Beckett starts to get suspicious, right? She's
Mhm.
like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, because he's acting odd.
Yeah,
He's acting really odd.
yeah. So they go to a butcher shop where they talk to her last patient, and he says that they mention an incident the previous Friday, which is what they think the restraining order is about. But he says that it wasn't him; it was the session before his, and so that's what causes them to go look at her appointment book and find that guy Evan Hinkle. And he starts saying all these weird things that are kind of like incriminating, but it turns out he's not really talking about like killing anyone, or he's just saying very misleading things, just I think for entertainment factor.
Yeah.
So Karpowski, I think before they interrogate Evan Hinkle, Karpowski throws in her own $50, so their bet is growing. And then Ryan Esposito upped the bet by saying that whoever loses has to wear a dress for a week and shave their head.
Yeah, I mean, so how do you feel about this betting plot?
I mean, I think it fits with the tone of the show because I don't know, Castle has like higher comedy factor than other shows that we in this genre that we watch, I think. So I kind of give them a little more leeway. Like this one and Lucifer, like they tend to be a little more comedic. So it's definitely not ethical.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I was kind of torn between that, like, it's not ethical, but also it's kind of funny, and then also too, I like that they're like, "Beckett can never know about
Yeah,
this."
yeah, yeah. She'll shoot us. I love that. So they go and like I talked about, they go and they talk to Evan Hinkle, and Castle starts giving him a grammar lesson.
Mm.
And Beckett, she's like her hackles are really up. She's like, "Why are you playing super cop?" And then
Yeah, because I mean, like, he's very much like, "Get to the answer."
yeah, he's like going kind of hard at the guy when usually he's just like a little more observant, and like he like asked like dorky questions, or like questions that are just sound that are just more like castle like, but now he's like being like super into his into the police aspect of it, which is
Mhm.
suspicious. She sees other officers talking in the bullpen. She's really starting to get suspicious now. And then she confirms that the lunch was with the husband. They made a scene and they're screaming at each other. And Beckett keeps noticing that people are staring at her as she's looking at her murder board to the point where she's like, "Can I help you?" And the lady's like, "Oh, I just looking at your cool murder board."
Yeah. That was, like, funny because she's, like, "Just looking at it," you know?
And then she's like, "I gotta go file this." She's not very good at hi. I guess people in general just find Beckett intimidating.
Mhm.
She's mom. She's mom of the bullpen. But then she sees Castle collecting money. She busts everyone. I love that. And then Karpowski says that the husband took out a $3 million life insurance policy on the wife. And then that causes Beckett to turn around and bet $100 on their case.
I mean, 'cause nothing says it's him like he just took out a $3 million policy.
Yeah, yeah. But I like I know we were talking about like how ethical it was, but I love that they thought that she was gonna literally kill them for betting, and then she turns around, and she's like, "I want in."
Yeah, I also wonder too, like, how it's kind of like Castle having an impact on her, right?
Yeah,
Because I don't get the impression that she was ever, like, super straight in Arrow. Like, I
yeah,
think she's always been kinda laid back in some ways, but also I think Castle kind of brings that side of her out more.
yeah. Like, do you think season one Beckett? I think season one Beckett probably would have maybe just balked at it a lot harder and not jumped into it quite so enthusiastically. Probably.
Yeah, I like especially earlier season 1 Beckett. I don't think she gets in on this so quickly.
Yeah, she's a lot more loosey goosey around this part of the show. Jason claims that the life insurance policy was his wife's idea, which is very convenient. You know, blame the dead wife.
Always, convenient when it's the dead person's
Yeah,
idea.
yeah. But Castle's he's in this interrogation, but he's still talking smack because he writes a note and then he puts it against the two-way glass so that the guys can read it. But so they overhear that the guy Jason says that his alibi is that he was at the basketball game. So they go to the break room, and Beckett and Castle go out there later, and they think they're slacking off. Maybe they gave up on on their competition, but then they show that Jason Causeway is actually on TV during the basketball game, so that shoots down their lead. Because I guess what happened was they question whether or not he was actually at the basketball game, right?
Yeah, because I mean, it's one of those places where you don't really get a very good alibi, except for and I think in his case, he was sitting right he knew where he was gonna sit, right, in
Yeah,
front of the camera and TV, but otherwise, it's not really a good place to have an alibi if you're at a game by yourself.
yeah. So, but Castle goes home and he's looking a little worried. Martha has one of her dresses on a chair and he picks it up and holds it up against himself.
There's a lot about men in dresses in this episode.
But Alexis comes in and asks him whether he's ever been really sure about something only to have it fall apart. And apparently it's because her date with Owen was terrible because while they were at like they're at Serendipity, which is a real place, I had to look it up. But Talia, this girl Talia approached them and I guess took over their whole date. She was like, "Oh, remember we went to summer camp and la 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 la," and talking about all kinds of memories. And he was she says that Owen couldn't remember her but was still like participating in this whole reminiscing thing, which is kind of a red flag.
Uh-huh, right? Like, he's not that into you if he's, like, hanging out with another girl during your date.
Yeah, and if he can't remember her, that's even worse because he should have been like, I don't know what you're talking about. Who are you? Right? Instead, he's
Yeah.
just like playing along. He was probably like really flattered at her attention or something. Not for you, Alexis. So the next day when Castle arrives, Beckett is really antsy because the guys have a new lead. And then they then he tells her he is like super worried. She's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, do you want to shave your head? And that's when she's just like, what?
To be fair, I don't think that's her part of the bet. That's Castle
Yeah,
specific because
yeah.
that's what he bet for. She's just gonna lose her $100.
But so she gets a call from Lainey and they head down there and it turns out that the guys are down there too. And it's because Lainey says that their cases are connected. And Perlmutter and Lainey tell them about a very specific sample of salt water that was found on both victims. They just need to match it to something. And so Castle remembers that the therapist lady had a fish tank in her office, so he thinks that that's probably it. So now they think that the person who was in the they think that the one person murdered both victims, right?
Yeah, like I think it's a double homicide.
Yeah. Yeah. And so Beckett brings in both families. And so I have to question something here because Beckett gives Frank's daughter and son in law, she's like, here's a list of her patients' names. Do you recognize anyone? Is that legal?
I mean, I don't know, but I mean, like, if you're thinking a HIPAA violation, I don't think that would violate HIPAA
Would
because,
it?
like, no, because like, Kate Beckett doesn't. She's not a doctor,
I guess,
so if she's giving
but
them the names,
I
that's not
guess.
HIPAA. It's a HIPAA violation when it's from the doctor to the
Oh,
police, but not
okay.
from the police to the. At least I think that. I don't know. I think that's how that
I was
works.
just kind of like, hey, can she do that?
But I mean, it also doesn't make sense though from a police show perspective because like these are potentially suspects, and so you wouldn't necessarily give them a list of names.
Yeah,
Like maybe you might ask, "Oh, do you recognize any of these people?" If you had some people for them to pick from, but I don't know. It seems like a big fishing thing.
yeah. So it works though because the daughter actually recognizes a name, Grosvenor. So that leads them to suit up. Why were they getting suited up in bulletproof vests and go like taking like full guns and everything into this alley to arrest this guy? Like, did they go over like some kind of violent? Because I don't know. It just felt like
I mean, I guess
overkill.
I mean, yes, I think it is slightly overkill, but also the 2 victims were shot, so maybe I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you're right. Like it is a little bit much because it's like you're not going to get Bin Laden. It's just this guy that shot somebody.
Yeah, or two people. But they go to arrest him, and when they tell him what they suspect him of, he just laughs at them and shows them his ankle bracelet. So, and then Castle gets home. He can hear Martha and Lexus fighting inside, but it turns out that she's just practicing because she got a callback at her audition.
So I have a question about this scene because like it struck me as a little weird. He seemed almost gleeful when he thought that she was beating Alexis.
Did he?
Like his because he was like, "Oh my god, mother, did you finally?" And then he like stops mid sentence. Like when he thought that like she was beating her. Like I don't know. He seemed almost like I can't believe it's finally
Oh,
happening.
I
As
think I
opposed
took
to,
that
like,
as
not.
are you have you finally lost it? You're beating my
So it could be
daughter.
that. Okay, maybe it's that.
Yeah, because he looks relieved when or to me anyway, he looks relieved when he realized that, oh, it's just, they're just acting. But then Alexis gives Castle an update on the Talia drama. She never went to camp. She just got some other girl who actually went to camp to give her like details enough so that she could stage the whole thing. And but
Which I was just gonna say that's also like red flag behavior.
uh-huh.
Like
These
not only did she crash the date, but then he like entertained that crashing of the date, but then like this sounds very pathological, even beyond like teenage girl pathological, you know?
yeah, and
Like she made up a whole life.
what does he call her? Budding sociopath. Very on point. But yeah, I think Talia and Owen should just go out.
Seems like it,
They
huh?
deserve each other. But Alexis says, I knew it couldn't be a coincidence. What are the odds? And this gets Castle thinking. So he goes back to the station, and Beckett is staring at the two murder boards. And Beckett starts to say that it reminds her of her mother's case. And so it gets serious for a very brief moment of the episode because she's saying, knowing why your parent died is important. And he's looking at her because the way that I read it, he's like, is she coming around to why I did
Mhm.
it, right? Like, is she gonna pursue the case like I want her to, right? But it kind of like fizzles out. Like they just go on to the next thing because Ryan and Esposito come and say that the salt water does not match the fish tank. So now they're just like, what the hell? Right? They can't figure out why they're connected, how they're connected, and what is going on. And so Beckett says that they're going to switch cases for fresh eyes, and that finally helps things click into place for Castle that these murderers switch victims.
Mhm.
So they check into everything and it all fits. And then Castle and Beckett go back to talk to Jason, the husband, to go nail down his timeline. He says he killed some time, he bought a piece of pizza, but then he rushes off and he runs onto a water taxi. And so that clues him in on what body of salt water that they needed to match it to. But and it does come back as a match. And so they figure out Castle mentions strangers on a train. And so that's where we
Mhm.
get our episode from. He says strangers on a boat because they caught the same water taxi. And so but Becca says it's all circumstantial and they still need a confession. So this leads them to bet again on who can get a confession first.
Yeah, they're just doubling down, right?
Yep.
That's the name of the
Yep.
episode.
Yep. So they bring the two guys in, and Jason is really smug, saying that like that's a nice theory and all, but you got a lot to prove because you're gonna say that I killed somebody that I don't even know that I don't have any connection to, which is true, right? Like, how do you that basically takes out motive, right? So
Mhm. And I mean, I think the hard to prove piece is, like, because they're 2 strangers on a water taxi.
yeah,
If that's their only connection, then, like
it's super circumstantial, right? Because
yeah.
I mean, it's a big boat. You can argue, I've never seen this guy, even though we've ridden on the same taxi.
Mhm.
But so Beckett decides that the way that they're going to get their confession is Beckett hones in on the fact that Jason is the alpha between the two murderers. And this is what causes her to do what she does next, which is basically they barge into the interview with the other guy, Marks, that Ryan and Esposito are doing, and she just brags that, hey, we got a confession. He rolled on you, so haha. And this causes the guy to cave and confess, and so she gets a confession out of their guy, which is I thought that was a cool twist on like resolving their bet in their contest.
Yeah, and, like, also, I mean, he folded
Yeah, he
fast.
did.
Like, that wasn't even a he didn't even, like, stop to think if, like, that was a lie. He's just like, "Okay,
It was
what do
his
you wanna
idea.
know?"
It was his idea. And
Yeah.
I guess I can see that because I mean his motive was maybe a little more tamer, right? I just wanted his apartment.
Yeah,
whereas
which is why
whereas
he
the other
murdered
guy
so
was
wild.
like screaming at his wife at lunch and stuff, so
Yeah, which is why this is all so wild, like, I murdered someone for their apartment.
yeah,
My father-in-law at that.
he's going to be getting divorced too.
Yeah, probably.
But the guys declare themselves the winners, and Beckett's like, "No, we scored off of your guy, so we won." And so they have this whole argument thing, and that's where the episode ends. But I liked the bet thing for like the lightheartedness that it brought to the episode.
Mhm.
I think that's part of what makes Castle is that like I said, it leans a little more heavier toward the comedic. It has like that jokey jokey vibe we've woven throughout. So
Yeah, I mean, like and I mean, that's why I didn't really think too much of the bet, like, because there's, like, there's, like, different crime shows where I think it's a little bit more serious,
yeah,
and if those crime shows had a bet, it'd be like, "Oh, okay, well, this is weird." But, yeah, I think you're right in terms of, like, Castle is meant to, I think, have a heavier comedy element, which is one of the things that makes it stand out a little bit more from shows that it, I think are its peers, like The Mentalist and Bones and things like
Mm-hmm.
that.
All right. Watches. Beckett's hair watch. Her bangs are growing out. She still has very light brown hair. She looks good.
Yeah, I don't really love this haircut. I know that's not really for me to say, right? But it's just the layers, and I think this was a thing at the time too. I think the layers are just too harsh. They're not blended
Mm.
well enough, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, I like her bottom part of her hair, but I'm not big into the whole growing bangs out, the long bangs because she's trying to grow them out. So,
Yeah.
and maybe that's my own bang trauma.
Which is why you don't do it. You do not cut bangs.
What 80s and 90s girl doesn't have bangs trauma, right? It's kind of one of those lessons that you have to learn yourself.
Yeah. And God forbid you cut them yourself. Yikes.
I've done that. I have. Oh, you just keep going, and then eventually you're like, "Oh shit, they're too short." All right. Pop culture references. They mentioned the movie Crash, which Espo says is overrated, and I totally agree. So this was the movie. Wait, let me look it up.
Yeah, so this was like 2004 or something, right? It's the one that has all the famous people in it, and like I think it got an Academy Award or was nominated, and everybody was like,
Yeah,
"Why?"
it had like statements about racism and the LAPD and everything like that. But when I watched it, I was just like, why do people like this movie so much? Right? Is that how you reacted when you saw it too?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just one of those. It just has so many different like celebrities or famous actors in it, and so like people are like, "Oh man, I gotta go see it." Um,
Yeah.
like I actually just saw a trailer like this, not exactly like this, but I saw a trailer this morning on TikTok where I was just like, "Oh, this has so many people in it. What's it about? I guess I'll go see it." And I'm like, I don't even really know what it's about or if I'm gonna like it. I'm like, "Oh, okay, all these famous people who I know. I guess I'll go see it." I'm easily influenced that way.
I feel like Crash was like one of those movies where like it got so much buzz just because of the people on it. So it kind of like like Hollywood was kind of like in love with itself kind of
Mhm.
thing. And so they elevated this movie to higher than where it deserved to be.
Yeah, which I think happens quite a bit, right? Because like,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, Hollywood.
That happens a lot with me and the Oscars, like the Best Picture nominees. A lot of times I'll watch things and I'll just be like, why is this a Best Picture nominee?
Yeah, I don't know what it's nominated for. I know it's nominated for something because it's listed on Peacock as like Academy Award nominated. But Begonia, I think is how you say it. Begonia,
I don't
Begonia.
know.
It's the one with like Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons. The premise of it is he thinks the CEO of the company he works at is an alien.
Uh,
And I gotta say, I watched it. I was digging it for the first three fourths. I was like, this is some good commentary. And then it like changed up. And so the whole last fourth of the movie, like, last act, I guess, is just something completely different. I'm like, this is not, a different movie. I don't know. It's just, again, maybe I didn't get it. Maybe it wasn't for me, but it's supposed to be a sci fi movie. I mean, it is, I guess, a sci fi movie, but like, I'm just like, okay.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I just don't get some movies. I maybe that's why I watch so much TV. Is just movies are not as much my thing anymore. I tried to watch one battle after another, and I think I only lasted like 20 minutes into that before I gave up.
Mm.
It's just not my thing. I don't know.
Yeah, and I do feel like with TV shows, like you get a little bit more time to simmer. Like, an episode like this, which is kind of like could be technically considered filler, I guess.
Yeah,
Because this is still very much in the time period when we have TV shows that have filler, like they have time for filler.
yeah,
But I mean it introduces this light side to the bullpen and you know, we do get that, moment from Beckett where she's, Katie again.
yeah.
She's feeling the death of her mom. So I mean, it does bring us back different ways, I guess. But you get that with TV shows. You spend like what, 20 hours?
43 minutes.
Yeah, 43 minutes, 20 episodes, 20 to 24 depending on when it was made and everything, right? So like maybe about 15 hours total with that's probably still too much. Like 13 hours, I guess. I don't know. Point is, like you spend a lot of time with these characters and you get to build out stories. And even the ones that are just like this is filler, this doesn't really drive the main story that's going on here. I mean, they're still fun because
Yeah,
you're
and
having
it's
fun.
character building too, right?
Right.
So because you get to know like the more fun side of them, and I think I maybe that's why I like TV shows too. Is it's like I said, it's 43, 44 minutes, so it's nice bite sized entertainment as opposed to like hour and a half to 2 hour movie. Like if I'm ever watching a TV show where because I mean TV shows do this now where they have like episodes that are like 1 hour to one and a half like
Yeah.
60 to 90 minutes, and I feel that runtime a lot when I'm watching a TV show. I'm like, is this episode ever gonna end?
I
you know?
think that's right. Yeah, because I mean, as much as I love Severance, and I do love Severance, that finale I think was an hour and 20 or an hour and 30.
Uh
And I mean, while I enjoyed the heck out of it, don't get me wrong, but like I could feel it, right? Like
yeah.
I was like, this seems like a couple different episodes happening.
Yeah.
And so
And
I don't
Stranger
know.
Things. Stranger Things is notoriously like really long with their
Right.
episodes.
You said the last season was basically like movie length episodes for each episode, right?
Yeah, yeah, and so it gives it a different feel. It kind of feels like more of a commitment somehow because you're not getting like these mini stories. You're getting like feature film lengths, and you're like having to sit there for so long. It feels like, and it's not even that much more time, but it just feels so much longer.
Yeah, and I kind of wonder what the reasoning is for that. Like I kind of wonder like if there's some sort of like the producers and directors know that like people will invest if the episodes are longer. Like I wonder if there's something there because like this is a relatively I think newer thing that comes with things being on streaming because back in the
Yeah,
day when you're on network, right, you get your 42, 43 minutes and that's it. And I mean
yeah,
you could have two parts, right, make people come back next week. But at the end of the day, you get your 42, 43 minutes per episode, and that's it.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, because sometimes when I'm watching this, I'm like, maybe you should go into movies instead of doing TV. It doesn't feel like TV somehow. Ugh.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry for our little tangent rant.
I mean, yes. We are, but this is how we show you that we are these multifaceted women of the world who know about anything.
All right, and then other pop culture references. He Castle mentions 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, which for I don't know. Do you think younger people know what that is?
No, and I have to confess, I know what it is. I don't know where it started. Like, I get the concept, I know what it is,
Uh
but I
huh.
don't know what the origin of that is.
Actually, I don't know what it is either. But basically, the idea behind 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon is that you can pick any movie, and if you pick an actor and jump to another movie, if you make 6 jumps, you'll end up with a Kevin Bacon movie,
Mhm.
right? So,
Yeah, which is
which
go ahead.
which doesn't seem that hard if you have to jump 6 times. So,
It doesn't. And again, like, I don't know what the origin of it is in terms of,
yeah,
like, why that became a thing, but I do think it's funny that the other one of the other pop culture references here is Footloose.
Footloose, yeah. Because Castle mentions something about how he was watching Crash was on TV and Footloose came on right after.
Yeah, he must have been watching, like, Turner Classics, which hurts me to say, but, like, that seems like I mean, I guess Crash wouldn't have been on Turner Classics, but, maybe HBO or Cinemax or something.
Yeah, it's funny too because that's like old TV, right? Where like you have scheduled programs at a certain time, one after another. Whereas now it's just you pick what you watch on streaming, right?
Yeah, I mean, but that's basically what I do whenever I have to stay in a hotel if I'm traveling for work, like,
Uh huh.
I just, like, turn on the TV. I used to like, "Oh, I need to get my iPad and download some stuff," and now I'm just like, "I'll just turn the TV on." Like, Comedy Central's either gonna have on The Office or South Park, and so we can just go from there, it's fine.
So speaking of Kevin Bacon, I watched a show he was in last year called The Bondsman, and that was actually pretty good. And then it got canceled by Amazon.
Yeah, they don't let
uh,
anything, like, simmer. think
I
about it.
know, like, they don't give things, like, a chance to get off the ground, although Netflix is like that too, but I feel like Amazon is, like, starting to be very Netflixy like this.
Yeah, but I think that's, like, one of the downsides of streaming is because they really do expect to have, like, millions of views in the first week, and a lot of this stuff really needs the word of mouth. Like,
Yeah,
you have to hear
yeah.
about it before, because what we were talking about something recently, and I was just like, "Wow, I didn't even know that was a thing." Um, like, for example, I wouldn't know Scarpetta is a thing if not for the bullpen, right?
Uh,
Um, or what was the other one? The one the with Dove Cameron, the 56 Days.
yeah,
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 like, I it's not something that would be on my radar because, like, I'd have to turn on Netflix to see it advertised,
yeah.
and I don't do that, so
Yeah, and I feel like, I mean, that's what happened with one of my favorite shows on Netflix, the OA. The
Mhm.
second season got, like, almost no love. They just dropped it on Netflix, and they didn't promote it at all, it felt like, and so nobody really knew that it existed, you know? And, like, the fans really, really loved both seasons, and then they pulled the plug, and we're just it's still one of the most upsetting cancellations I've ever had to experience. But it's just because they don't, like, you log onto Netflix and there's a thing that pops up on your home screen, like the first thing they show you, like they don't do that with all their shows. They do that for, like,
Right,
their tentpole stuff, but not for, like, their smaller stuff. And I feel
right.
like if they did that, they might see a little more success in certain things. So
That and I think one of my critiques of streaming is you almost have to be plugged into social media to know things are out.
yeah,
And to know
yeah.
what's going on. Because, like, for example, I mentioned Severance a little bit ago. I was one of the people that started watching in season 2. I had no idea the show was on. This happened, like, what, 2022 or 2023? I had no idea
Long
that show
time
was on.
ago.
Yeah, and, but what got me was I was on Threads and people were just talking about this show and, like, about, oh, like, hating your workplace and stuff like that, and I'm like, "What are y'all talking about?" And so I check it out, and then what I find fascinating, and the reason I bring it up is that it's the first show that Apple TV Plus ever really put marketing behind in season
Mm,
2, and then season 2 did amazing
yeah,
numbers,
it
right?
blew up, right?
Yeah, it like, one of their best streamed show and it was just in the top 5, like, last week again. Like, randomly,
And
I was like
And it happened with Pluribus too. Like, I only started watching Pluribus because everybody on Threads and Facebook were talking about Pluribus. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm watching that next, you know?
right,
So whatever people are talking about, that's what I'll go check out next. So you gotta get, like you said, like, that word of mouth has to get out there. So
right.
I don't
As
know.
opposed to, like, shows like Castle, I think, and The Mentalist, this was another one, Bones. They were network shows that ran long enough to go into syndication. And so you get them in syndication. And so for some of our I guess, younger listeners, what used to happen with shows like this, and I think still does to some degree, for TV watchers, because I know, like, there's Ion Channel, Star, but Star shows, I think, older shows. But Ion, for example, still does this, where, after a show gets so old, usually around season 4 or 5, they get picked up for syndication, which is when you start getting all the reruns are shown on a channel
Mhm.
like TNT, right? And so The Mentalist, Bones, Castle, they were all on TNT at one point. And so if you're a cable viewer and you're just like flipping through channels back in the day and you're like, "Oh, what's a show on TNT?" Or if you're watching like I always use the example of, Fringe, which is one of my favorite sci-fi shows of all time. I found that the night it premiered because I was watching Bones. And so
Mhm.
like you used to have like either these shows in syndication that you would just be flipping through and you could find them and get interested and then like go watch them live once you're caught up. Same that's also how I got on ER was like one summer at grandma's house. We're watching ER, like, what is this? And then I just hop on into it. But you used to be able to do that. And with streaming, it's like you have to be intentional and plugged in. And, I think a lot too about the bullpen and how many like people we talk to in there
Yeah.
who, for example, have never seen the X Files or how many people have started the like Fringe or
Fringe. Yeah.
yeah, and it's just because, like, they hear people talking about it, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Or the Pit. I mean, Pit is a lot
Mhm.
of word of mouth too, right? Everybody was talking about the Pit at some point, and then everybody started watching the Pit. So It's got to build that steam somehow.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track. We're gonna. Neosha had written down a new Marthaism for this episode.
I did.
Whoever
That's oh, young love. First banana splits and then splitting assets. So
wrote that
dramatic. I love
line,
it. I love her.
whoever wrote that line is genius. So, author's notes. This is, like I said earlier, this is the first appearance of Perlmutter, and the restaurant Serendipity is a real place. I looked it up on Google Maps, and it's listed as a legendary dessert destination.
Yeah, I've never been, but I will hit that Carlo's Bakery at the Port Authority pretty hard, but I've never
So
been to Serendipity.
have you heard of it before?
Yeah.
Like, what is it? Is it like an ice cream shop or?
I think it's got a little bit of everything.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
I'm not
And
I don't I love sweets, and it's kind of a problem for me, but I'm not really a big going out to dessert person, if that makes sense.
mm, Casket Corner. I felt like Castle and Beckett teamed up really nicely when she got into the competition, and I really liked the teamwork that they showed together. It really made them seem very like a cohesive team.
Yeah. And I think that it works. This episode works, especially coming off of the last episode
Yeah,
because
where she was mad at him.
mhm. Yeah, and so seeing them back as a team and like working in cohesion, it also kind of just shows that even though this is only the show's 12th episode total, that they kind of just already have that connection and that
Yeah,
relationship, right?
yeah, yeah. It was very healing because it shows like from Beckett's side that she enjoys working with Castle, right? Despite all the ways that she was so irritated with him in the first season.
Right. And like basically at this point, I mean, even in the first season, you could already kind of tell that some of her pleas for him to leave are just
Half-hearted.
yeah, like she enjoys him being there. Like he adds something.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think that's true for the whole team, right? Like he adds something for them.
Yeah. Okay, bestseller list scenes. I like when Beckett starts sniffing out the bed, where she's like looking around and like she's like suspicious because people are acting like kind of squirrely around her. Just I like that whole sequence of little events.
Yeah, because like for all of the don't let Beckett know about this, like no one was really good at hiding it.
No, they weren't. They were terrible at it. Just like
And then
whenever she looks their way, they like scurry around and scatter.
my scene, my favorite scene was when Alexis starts telling Castle the story about the girl who set up Ashley to meet her friend.
Mhm.
Like, again, that was so diabolical. Like, she never went to the camp, uses a friend to tell her everything about the camp, does this whole thing. And then that's when Castle starts to kind of get the idea of it's too much to be coincidental. Like, there's something we're missing here. But nevertheless, like, I do like the moments where Alexis is going through something and it gives Castle an idea. But
Yeah.
this was just so much, and I loved it.
So nefarious teen girl, right?
Mhm.
So favorite lines I like when Esposito says, "Not a word to Beckett. She finds out about this, she'll shoot us."
And then for me, it was really early on when Castle says, "I'm just saying, whoever killed her also murdered the English language." That was his whole thing throughout the episode was like,
Yeah, he couldn't
"Why
handle the grammar.
yeah, like, why did you spell this wrong? What's wrong with you?"
All right, we're gonna take a quick break and we'll come back with a new Beckett's interrogation, Yosto's favorite part of our recordings.
I love public humiliation, it's fun.
Okay, we're back with a new Beckett's interrogation. The way this works is I'm going to ask 6 questions about the episode we just discussed, and you'll have 5 seconds to come up with the answer.
Alright,
Are you ready?
lay it on me.
All right. What is the typo on the woman's face that Castle fixates on?
Oh, it's your.
Yeah, yeah. Which is a very common typo that I see all the time that drives me crazy too, so I totally get it.
I mean, my favorite place to see it, honestly, is when someone's online trying to tell someone else they're stupid, and they're like,
Yeah,
"You're
you're
stupid."
stupid.
Love
You
it.
are.
No notes.
uh, Okay, question 2. What is Castle's excuse when Beckett busts him collecting money for the bet?
Ooh, what does he tell her? Um, I this one I don't know.
Oh, it's Girl Scout cookies.
Oh, that's right, because of the whole thing. It's like, no, because the Girl Scout cookies are sold in February. I should
Yeah,
have gotten that
yeah,
one. Because I was
yeah.
gonna say, like, that's kind of a dated reference because Girl Scout cookies are like January now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they start pushing those drugs out early.
Uh, okay, question 3. Where did Jason Causeway say he stopped for pizza?
Oh. Another one I should know because I remember Castle asking him which one was it because it was like a different it's a
Yeah,
common name, but
you're gonna have to ask me. You're gonna have to explain to me the difference.
you just tell me what it is.
It's Ray's Pizza. He asked him, "Is it famous original or original famous?" So
Different owners.
are there two different ones?
Yeah, I think that's what he's implying, right? Is famous original or original famous. So like I think this plays on the old idea of like two people
Pizza.
who were in business together or something and one of them like branches out and they change the name just slightly. And so the name's kind of confusing.
There's a future Castle episode, right, about pizza rivalry
Yes.
between.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what the play is the play on like
Okay.
which one.
I did look this up, and there are this is a real place, famous original Ray's Pizza. I couldn't find original famous though, so I don't know. Maybe one edged the other out.
Maybe or maybe like the other one just never existed. Like it was a
Yeah, yeah, it's a play on something. But yeah, Ray's Pizza does exist. Okay, question. What is this? Question 4. What was Alexis looking forward to eating with Owen?
ice cream.
Specifically, a what?
Specifically, I don't know.
It was in your Marthaism. It was a banana split.
Oh, yeah. See how bad I am? Like, it's clear that I watched the episode, but when you start asking me pointed questions, I'm like, I don't know.
My next two questions are hard too. Maybe our listeners will get them. Okay, question 5. What kind of fish helps Castle determine that the fish tank contains salt water?
It's that one that looks like Nemo, the blue one.
No, Nemo's not blue.
Yes. Oh, wait, Dory's blue.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Dory's blue. But what is Nemo?
Clownfish.
Yes, there you go. It's a clownfish. See, you got it.
Only
All
with a
right.
little help.
Last question. Where was the takeout food at the original scene from?
Not serendipity. That's where they had dessert.
Yeah. I'm talking about the victim. They had
Oh,
takeout food at the scene.
I can't remember.
It's Sichuan wok.
Oh, so it's noodles or rice.
Yeah, it's nudes.
Hmm. Hmm.
Is that a real restaurant?
I have no idea.
I don't Sichuan food is spicy, so I probably wouldn't eat there, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, well, what did you get? I think you got two or three. Of-
2 out of 6 ain't bad.
You will pleased to hear this though. We're going to be doing the Mentalist finale next week, and I have told our guests and Karen that we're going to flip things around and they're going to ask me the questions.
About time.
Okay, any last thoughts before we close out?
No, I found this episode to be enjoyable. It was a fun watch, especially coming off of some of the, heavier elements of the last one.
Yeah, I liked it too, and I actually really liked the whole switcheroo thing. I think that was a clever like murder of the week concept where
Mhm.
where they switch victims and committed their each other's murders. I like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't actually know if I've seen that used in another show, and I've watched a lot of police procedural shows. So yeah, and I do see a lot of overlap, and I don't know. Yeah, like I said, I don't know if I've seen this one overlap with other, like I see a lot of overlap between Castle and Lucifer, and Lucifer and the Mentalist, and Castle and the Mentalist. So
Yeah, I think usually, and even on Castle, usually it's like the team has one case, or they're both doing, or they're all doing like two cases, right?
yeah.
It's usually not you have a case and we have a case.
Okay, if you're enjoying Rom-Com Detectives, we hope you'll consider taking a minute to leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. For our question of the week, leave us a comment on Spotify, YouTube, or Reddit, and tell us if it's rude to bet on solving murders. If you'd like to join additional conversation about Castle, you can visit the Castle subreddit at reddit.com/r/CastleTV. To contact me and Neoshia, you can email us at host@romcomdetectives.com. Follow us on Instagram, Threads, or Blue Sky at romcomdetectives, or leave us a voicemail or text message at 1-650-733-XOXO or 9696. This episode of Rom-Com Detectives was recorded on February 24, 2026. Rom-Com Detectives Castle Unit is co-hosted by Krista Watanabe and Neoshia Roemer and is produced by Pico's House. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll catch you guys next time for our breakdown of Castle 2, Season 2, Episode 3, Inventing the Girl. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.